as you start that journey, my biggest advice is for you or each of the prospective students to really use this opportunity to get out of your comfort zone, really to try new things. I think we all know that you guys have your passions and you guys have areas where you really excel. But I think that, my biggest advice as I look back and I wish I was young again is that idea of trying new things, that idea of, I wish I did lacrosse when I was young. I wish I did drama and dancing. I did plenty of dancing, don't get me wrong, but I wish I did more of a professional dancing. But I think that it is amazing. Like Jack was saying, we have had a few of these throughout the years, and it is funny to see you guys and see your names and see your pictures and see your videos, because believe me, usually the yield of these events is almost like 80%. So it might be still like an abstract idea for you as you start researching and applying. But believe me, a lot of, I cannot wait to meet a few of you in person as you visit throughout the spring, but I cannot wait to welcome you all in the fall.
For anybody that's out there in the Zoom this morning, can anybody that's visited campus speak of their experience while they had visited? So the group here collectively in the Zoom can kind of understand, the culture of campus, what you saw, some of the things that you appreciated.
Hi, everybody. My daughter is at Hebron, actually, Sophia Gualtieri. She is loving Hebron. Yes, we had a blast. When I first got there, I cried like a baby in Edwin's arms. I won't lie. She's our oldest. I didn't want to leave her. We did not see her. We're in Canada. We're in Montreal, so the borders were closed. So I just saw her a couple weeks ago for the first time in 3 months. It was the best ever. We love Hebron. It's an amazing drive there. The campus is beautiful. All the staff is amazing. I can't complain about anything. Everything's great. The food's great. The dorms are great. The girls are great. The boys are great. Education is fantastic. We are very happy. And this is Joey. And Joey right now is in grade 8, and he is looking to come for grade 10, hopefully, to Hebron, if it all works out. But the campus is great. You are in great hands if you come to Hebron. And I cannot wait to go and see her next week at the tournament in Rhode Island. And unfortunately, I won't be back to campus till January 4th to let her go back to school again. So I wish you all a great day, and Hebron rocks. We love it. Thank you so much, everybody.
Hi, everyone. We visited a few times, once in the summer when it was very quiet and there were no students around, and then another time about a month ago. And both times we were, Forrest came away feeling really positive about his experience, and seeing the school in action just, I think, solidified what we'd experienced when it was really quiet. It's just a great feeling of community. It felt like there was a lot of smiling, a lot of happiness. And that was, I think that feeling just came across to us.
I really liked, I think, just looking at all the kids just enjoying the campus. And then just learning about like each teacher, because I got to meet with the teachers, which was really great. I just really liked it. Yeah.
I think we have a few questions here, and I'm going to let Mr. Babcock, what is the best part of being a lumberjack for you?
Well, I think you hit on something that I love about the campus and about being on the campus is like watching the students at times do the crazy fun things that they do. I think there's been a lot of sledding, no sledding accidents yet. But they are, I think later today, they're having like a snowman building. Everything needs to be a competition, right? So there's a competition between our houses we call the bowl in the middle of our campus. So I just love watching them have fun with each other and kind of share those moments of connection in the classroom and on sports teams and in the arts, but also kind of those serendipitous kind of moments that happen outside, right? They were building gingerbread houses the other day, and they were testing like the tensile strength of their gingerbread, which was which was an entertaining moment. So I love when very different groups of kids also, this was a moment where we had kids from kind of all different social groups and ages at the school who were all doing this one really stupid gingerbread task thing together. But it was fun because they were helping each other out, and they were asking cool questions about each other's lives and like what they do, because they don't intersect that much in kind of their day to day, you know, a 7th grader and a 12th grader. But it was just awesome watching them work together. And then they did manage to actually build a gingerbread house together, which I'm proud of. So.
I saw them in our social media. So that's another, I think, a great advice is if you don't follow Hebron social media, I think it's a great way to see what happens here on a daily basis. I know Jack the Lumberjack says here is always there. It's a lot of fun. But I think my favorite part of being a lumberjack, I am a highly competitive person. Somebody might say that kind of borderline hooligan. So it's always fun to see our teams and to see our competitions against other schools. I think that every time if we lose, I kind of have to go through 3 days of acceptance. But I'm always there, kind of supporting the teams, and it's always so much fun. I'm originally from Costa Rica, and I became a ice hockey fan. I mean, that's how I think this community involves you.
I played basketball, and if I was here in the beginning, I would have tried to play football, but it's my first 2 weeks here, so I got straight to basketball, got straight to it.
So
Nice.
In the fall, I was on the golf team. That was nice. Right now, I'm playing basketball. In the spring, I do track. We're in the 400 hurdles. It's a grind, for sure, but perseverance.
Freshman year was in soccer, and then I decided to switch to field hockey because I play ice hockey, but I ended up really liking it. So at Hebron, it's been a great experience, even in my 3 years of being. So when I came to Hebron in 7th grade, I was on the middle school soccer team, and 2 years later, I play for the girls varsity soccer on the high school team.
It means a lot to me. I sacrificed a lot coming here for my grades and for athletics, so being on the basketball team here means a lot, and winning means a lot to me too. Also personally, I want to do well, so it just means a lot being here.
It's like a sense of family in a way, with all the girls and how tight we all are, and the coaching as well.
So last weekend we actually beat Kent, who was 9th in the country, in 3-2 in overtime.
Skiing, I've never did that. I'm from Brooklyn. We don't have mountains. We don't have none of that. I like ice skating. I don't know about hockey because it takes a lot of skill, but I would like to ice skate sometimes.
Marco, we all just bond outside the basketball court because it's like when we're on the basketball court, we're together. When we're outside of the basketball court, we're together. So it's just like when we're on the team, it's just like the same thing. We have the same chemistry regardless of on the court or not.
I think it's really fun. All the girls are really nice. We all have a lot, we make TikToks together. Even when we lose, we still find some positive things in our loss. Like if we played well, even if the other team beat us.
I was the ball boy for the men's varsity soccer team during the Maysad Championship against Hyde. We won 2-0, and it was absolutely electric. To witness the game firsthand, hear the players, communicate, and just the opponent, and see the crowd get into it. Great game.
I do. My sophomore year, we were playing Kent Hill in the Maysad Championship, and we ended up winning in overtime, and then everyone ran out onto the field and started jumping up and down with the trophies. So that's probably my favorite Hebron memory.
Appreciate you for coming to the open house.
Thanks for tuning into the open house.
Thank you for coming to the open house. Go Jacks.
And we offer a wide variety of sports, and we rely on our students to be multi-sport athletes, right? And so, for example, I'm the varsity lacrosse coach here. My lacrosse team, the boys lacrosse team, we have a number of quote unquote, lacrosse players, and then we fill in with Jack, with Coach O'Brien's ice hockey guys. And they do a fantastic job. It was the same thing for boys varsity soccer this year. One of the students was talking about the MASAD finals that we won. And, you know, we had a number of really good players. We had an all New England player on our team. But again, like, we leaned on these multi-sport athletes to kind of fill in the hole. And what we find is that not only do they have a lot of fun playing those sports, but it's also, I'm kind of from the old school model. There are transferable skills in soccer and in football and field hockey that you can't teach in ice hockey, lacrosse. And so these skills that they're learning in those other sports are really, really valuable to their quote unquote main sport. We're in Hebron, Maine, which is about an hour from Portland and about 50 minutes from Sunday River. And we have a local ski hill about 15 minutes away that, you know, throughout the week, yesterday on Friday, we transported 115 kids to Sunday River to go skiing. And that includes our alpine ski team, our snowboard team, and then we have a very big and growing recreational ski program. And so those are student athletes who range from anyone who's learning to ski, who's we call them never evers. So students who have never ever skied or snowboard, all the way up to students who are proficient and ski in the Alps and Whistler, and who don't necessarily want to be part of a competition, but want to enjoy the mountains. And so we transport those kids and they have a really, really fun time. And those student athletes are also heavily involved in our mountain biking program. We have, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but over 1,000 acres on campus and an extensive trail system. And we're a part of a New England mountain biking team, and we host races and go to races throughout the year, cross country. And you know, Mr. Tovel here, I see him on the meeting. He can talk in greater lengths about the Nordic skiing that we have going on here, but we have really, really cool opportunity. And we push our kids to experience that.
You know, we're a school that started in 1804. So there's a lot of legacy associated with athletics and activities on campus. We have a very robust archives and a strong archivist on campus as well too. So, you know, you prospective students can be part of that legacy as well. And that legacy is a lot deeper than some of the schools, not only that you're coming from, but also some of the schools that you're potentially looking at. So to take the pride in being a part of a strong legacy and history of the community that we have through athletics is something definitely to be proud of. And, you know, our students really, you know, appreciate that. And, you know, they like, you know, having their name in the record books and their name on the trophies and their name, you know, in the archive halls and being a part of something that, you know, they put their stamp on and they can leave their name behind as a positive contributor to athletics and the community as a whole.
What is really cool for me to see is we have the people in the games, but our kids show up to our games. You know, I'm thinking about the hockey game today. I coached JV hockey, the boys JV program. We had, I don't know, like 40 people in the stands for a JV hockey game. And likewise, you know, thinking back to our girls field hockey game in the fall, it was the MASAD semifinals we hosted here. And as the athletic director, you know, I was watching the game and enjoying it. And our kids and fans were like so close to the benches, and there were so many people. I had to do like some crowd control. And the point is that it shows up and creates a really, really fun atmosphere and environment, and really like boosts morale for our campus. So whether you're a part of the game or a part of, you know, you're part of watching the game, it's a really, really fun experience for everyone involved.
So I think that you have this wide variety of interests and talents on campus. Based on, Mr. Brooks, based on your amazing athletic career, what advice would you give to any prospective student here as they start their research about trying to go to the best option for them in terms of their potential?
The biggest and best piece of advice that I can give for any student athlete is to really throw yourself into the process, right? And don't worry about the outcome. right? It's easier said than done. I think, every boarding school, and we're no different, has to have students who come here with the goal of being a college athlete. And that is fantastic. I think how you get there is by focusing on what you can do right now in the moment today. And if you're able to do that and put yourself in that process wholeheartedly, effort, energy, and really enjoy it, have fun with it. If you do all of those things and you're a good teammate, the end goal will unfold and take care of itself, right? And so I think that's my biggest piece of advice, is just to worry about today, and throw yourself into the process.
Perfect. I think that we have a few questions going up in the chat. So maybe Jack, you can tackle on this one, or you, Kari, as well. This one is a tricky one, I think. What sport gets the best college scholarships? It's kind of hard to pinpoint, but do your best.
Yeah. For me or for Coach O'Brien?
I'll start, Mr. Brooks. What I'll say to that question, Elsa, is you really got to peel back the onion a little bit on that. I think it's important to align your academic goals to a potential degree program at college at the next level, and then find a way to align athletic and activities into those goals you'd like to achieve from an academic perspective. I work with my students, and I say, my hockey guys, and I say, fellas, there's thousands of kids in your shoes that are competing to do what you want to do to get to the next level. You really need to think about academia first, and then see if you can align the hockey portion to what your degree program goals look like for the future. Right. So, do your best to get to the level that you want to get to, but be a realist and understand that, a college degree is probably the most important next step for you in your journey. Right. And then with that said, you can align now what activities you want into that degree program.
A very important part to that is the journey, right? I think that people focus too much on the overall goal, when, sometimes I'm more of a annoyingly romantic. So I think the journey is what really makes you grow. If at some point your top choice as a school didn't work out, is that process of adapting to challenges, adapting to what you might consider a failure. But at the end, I think what Hebron really provides is that kind of community, that kind of support network to walk together through this journey, which I think is very important. Based on our location being more remote, what benefits, Mr. Brooks, or challenges do you see in terms of traveling for games, for events?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we are, relatively, I say relatively remote, because we do have a number of schools in the area that we compete against. We're an hour from Portland. But we do also, and Coach O'Brien and Coach Paulson, boys and girls hockey coaches, can attest to this. We're somewhat, we consider ourselves road warriors. We hit the road, and that's part of the gig up here. I think I was talking to one of our football players a couple weeks ago, and they went down for their last game to play in Connecticut. They played a school, it's Foreman School, last game of the year. And what my conversation with this student athlete had nothing to do with the game. They won the game, and it was a great game. But what we were talking about was the bus trip down there, the overnight that they had in the hotel, and then the dinner after the game. They had a private room in one of the restaurants down there, and that was the scope of the conversation. Of course, it presents challenges. It causes our students to learn better time management. They have a window at night to study if they have a long road trip on Saturday, for example, or they bring their work on the road. But these road trips, and I was a student athlete at one point, looking back at my time, like I remember the bus trips. The wins and losses are a little foggy at this point, but it's that's where you build the team and the camaraderie. That's the team building moment. And those road trips you know, on paper might look like a little daunting, but you know, if you ask any one of the players here on campus that takes part in those road trips, those are really, really memorable experiences. And we also it's not a hindrance to kind of, we get out and play everyone, you know, we're not just limited to schools in Maine. You know, we're playing a school who's coming up here today from Rhode Island, Portsmouth Abbey. And likewise, later on in the year, in the winter, we'll go down and play them. And we play a number of New Hampshire schools, Massachusetts schools, Connecticut. You know, we're all over New England, really.
Our location has been a blessing to us. I mean, I think that we have remained kind of in a bubble in some ways that has allowed us to continue in-person classes, athletics competition, things like that. So obviously we look forward to things becoming more normal throughout the world, but our location has really been a great asset for us.
So freshman year, I took conceptual physics, as every freshman does. And then sophomore year, I took AP Chemistry and Engineering 2, which is Principles of Engineering. Last year, I took AP Biology and Engineering 3, which is Applied Engineering, so working with different machines like 3D printing, a laser cutter, our CNC miller, which we helped pick out which one the school should buy. So that was fun to work with that. And then this year I'm taking Engineering 4, which is a capstone engineering. So I'm working on my own individual project, which I'm hoping is redesigning the hockey helmet in a couple different ways. I'm taking anatomy, and I am also doing an independent study in advanced molecular techniques, and I'm also taking physics. So those are my science classes.
My 9th grade year, I took conceptual physics with Dr. Swinton. We 3D designed in Tinkercad cars that we 3D printed and raced at the end of the year, so that was super fun. We did several experiments. We focused on the design process of background research, hypothesis, testing, recording data, things like that.
I've taken the 6th grade introduction to science. That was pretty much what it was up through 8th grade. And last year I did conceptual physics with Dr. Swinton. That was a lot of fun. And then this year I'm doing honors chemistry with Mr. Grads, and we've had a lot of fun this year.
So I came into Hebron thinking that I wanted to be an engineer, and all these classes at Hebron has made my want to become an engineer concrete. So I've never been more, I've never known more what I wanted to do in college than I do now. And that's because of the classes at Hebron and the wide opportunity of different science classes and classes in general that I was able to take.
We spent quite a few weeks designing these cars in Tinkercad online. It was my first 3D design experience, using digital software, and I think that was my first realization that I wanted to kind of pursue something in the engineering path, because it was pretty cool to put what I had in my mind into reality and make a car that actually functioned and raced well.
One time in 6th grade we were learning about rocks, and we went to a rock mine, a rock pile where we could we brought hammers and we just chipped away at rocks and observed them.
So for our final earlier, about a month ago, we made soap for our final, which was really interesting. We mixed a lot of different chemicals, and then we could add fragrance and color to it too.
My freshman year, I can remember coming into Hebron and wanting to do exceptionally well. I set my standards way too high, as I think a lot of freshmen do. And I was taking conceptual physics, and I was like, oh, this is a science class. I'm gonna do so well. And I remember getting a grade that I personally wasn't happy with. And I went to Dr. Swinton, my teacher, and I don't know why, but I started breaking down, and I got so upset about it because I wanted to do so well. And I just remember her comforting me and saying it's gonna be okay, like it's just one grade, it's not gonna affect your entire like final grade, like you still have a chance to like push through this and still do well in the class. And I did do well in the class, and I think I finished with an A- that year. So it's really personal to me because I've taken 4 classes with Dr. Swenson, and I continue to try to find ways to take classes with her because she's so empathetic, and I have such like a deep personal connection that learning from her is just so much easier now.
You don't just learn like the words and all that stuff, you actually do hands-on experiments, and it's a lot of fun.
I would tell a prospective student interested in science to share your curiosities. I expressed to Dr. Swenson multiple times that I love genetics, I love DNA, working with DNA, and she took my interests and not only heard them but remembered them. And so now I'm doing my independent study with her, and we're working on different things that I'm interested in because she remembered. So my biggest advice is to tell like the faculty what you're interested in, because chances are they're also interested and they'll be willing to work with you either in class or outside of class in pursuing that interest.
Hebron is a place where all the resources you may need are at your fingertips. I mean, especially having KNAB here. In the engineering room, we have closets of anything imaginable to build things, design things. We have the robots. We have a ton of different supplies to just tinker around and build things. In the labs, they're brand new, awesome, have everything they need. So, and also the teachers are just always willing to put in the extra hours and help to make their students succeed and do the best they possibly can. Thanks for tuning into the Hebron Virtual Open House.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you so much for coming to the virtual open house, and I hope that you choose to make Hebron your home.
If there is one thing that I really love about Hebron is the idea that even though we are such a small community of 270 students and around 70 faculty members, there is such a wide variety of personalities and interests within our community. You have students who gravitate towards the arts, who gravitate towards science, who love athletics. There are kids who still don't know what is their thing. They're still figuring it out. So you do not have a community where everybody is the same. And part of this conversation is also to show you our offerings for the arts. Right, Ms. Glowski? Great.
Absolutely. So the arts has 2 different pieces. There's the performing arts, and then there's the creative studio arts side. So in performing arts, we talked a little bit about this in our middle school program, but our middle schoolers will take art and music as part of their daily curriculum. Our high schoolers can opt to have that as their elective, but everyone can take chorus or band or orchestra, and those things will typically happen before the school day so that they still have time for all of their classes during the school day and after school activities after. We do offer after school music and after school art as an after school activity throughout the year. And then in terms of our creative and studio arts, we have painting and drawing, working with different types of mediums. We have ceramics, our ceramic studio, and Mr. Miller, who's the head of our arts department, is absolutely incredible. We have wheels. We teach the students how to work with the clay. We have kilns on campus, so we're firing and glazing, and the students are really able to see their project go from just a hunk of clay all the way up to a finished project, whether it's a present they're bringing home for a family member or something they're using on their desk every day. We do 2D and 3D art. We have graphic design. We have students who made album covers, magazine covers. So it's really an incredible way to be creative, whether it's in the performing arts realm or in the regular arts. It really is all about the student finding more about their passion.
Perfect. And we do have a video for you guys so that you can also get a sense of our students when it comes to arts and creativity and performing.
important part of like my journey is really before it, and before my journey at Hebron, in regards to art, it wasn't really like existent. Like I had done art classes at my old school, but it was mainly because it was a requirement. But coming to Hebron, although my sophomore year it was a requirement, I really started to kind of get into a little bit of 2D art, and yeah, so it was a very interesting course. It's not really my favorite kind of art, but it taught me a lot about art, and like that it's important to learn about different types of art.
So I take advanced ceramics and advanced 2D art. In advanced ceramics, last year I took regular ceramics and I enjoyed it a lot. Last year we were just 2 students, so it was a very focused class. And this year there are a bunch of new students that are just learning how to do ceramics. So it's very fun to look at that process that I already passed through. And yeah, this year I've been just like trying to get better at the wheel, learn new techniques, and improve my throwing skills. And in 2D art, it's my first time taking a 2D art class in Hebron, and it's very fun so far. At the beginning of the year we did a Photoshop project. It was like a mix of a picture and some illustrations. And we mixed it all in the computer, so it was a digital project but also like 2D.
I did kind of a mock acting and improv class my freshman year, and that was the first trimester. It was acting and improv, and then the second trimester we switched it to like music and like lyric writing and some basic, like very basic music theory. And my sophomore year I did 2D art and design, and it really helped with my understanding of like using 2D space to make 3D art or vice versa. And that's also the year I started learning bass guitar outside of school. And at first I thought that was gonna be like another thing that my dad was gonna force me into that I wouldn't enjoy, that he just wants me to enjoy. But then it blossomed really quickly into something that not only interested me, but like I've never been more interested and encouraged to do something like bass guitar.
Although it was difficult at first, very difficult, I struggled, I got angry, I just, you know, I threw clay in buckets and started over, but that was the most important thing for me, was like sticking with this new thing and not really like letting it go till I was able to, you know, come out with something. So through all of the like hard times through this like first trimester, I was able to get to like a pretty good area where I could confidently throw pieces and construct things with my hands that look very real.
I feel that in Hebron I have a lot of freedom to be creative because I have the time to be in this place. I come here like in my classes in the morning, and then I used to be in after school art in the fall, so that was a very long period of being creative and doing whatever I wanted to. And then we also have the opportunity to come during study hall on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I'll be here tonight, I'll be throwing some mugs. And I like this place because we have a lot of materials and we can use them freely. We don't have to like measure ourselves, and we can just try different things.
Oh, yes, of course. They offer many different art classes, as well as many after-school opportunities like the rock band, orchestra, chorus, the heebie-jeebies, whatever suits you as an artist, a musician, what have you. There's also designated spots to go in, instead of study hall, to go into the art building and just have, you know, complete freedom of control with what you're doing for like 2.5 hours. It's really great.
Well, okay, so Hebron has a lot of opportunities for being creative, not even just like in the arts, but in other areas.
This year, in the audio recording class that I'm taking, at first I thought this was gonna be like just an easy class that I can cruise through as a senior and just get that easy A for my GPA. But it actually has become a great place to create things that I like, that I can make for myself, I'm with my friends. And for the fall exam, we just had to make a song. It just had to be a 3-minute song. We could write anything we want, use any instruments we want.
So for any prospective art students out there, or people who, people who just like, even if it's required for you, I would say be open and just like, be ready to like take in the knowledge and just like, try to learn about it, try to like be creative and like put your own twist on things, like see what you can get out of the course and really choose an art class that you think you'll enjoy or like that you can get something out of, because if you can do that, then like I feel like it would be much easier for you to find an interest or like sort of hobby.
I personally came here because of the art program that we have, because I was looking forward to a school that had like not just the basic to the art class. In this school we have like a big variety of art classes, and last year, my first year came, I decided to take ceramics because it's something that I never did before in my life and I really wanted to do that. I want to go to college for fashion design, so I also took the opportunity to keep working on that area here. I actually opened a club, a fashion club. We haven't done a lot of stuff yet, but we will work on some projects, and yeah, that's something that I'm very interested in. So there are so many art classes. If I could, I would choose just art classes in my schedule, but sadly I can't.
Welcome to the Hebron Virtual Open House.
Thank you for coming to the virtual open house.
Thank you so much for coming to the virtual open house.
I'm going to pass it to our Dean of Residential Life, Mr. Hensley, who will walk us through the program and the philosophy and what I think is the most important part of boarding school. I mean, I went to boarding school, and if you ask me how much do I remember of my calculus class, not so much, but how much do I remember from my experience in the dormitory and my friends and living there is probably what allowed me to became more independent and more mature. And it really has, probably is the area of boarding school that had the biggest impact on me. So Mr. Hensley, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Edwin. And it's a pleasure to be here and talk about residential life here at Hebron and to see so many folks tuned in. So thank you all for being here this morning. I hope you've enjoyed the other sessions, or we'll enjoy one or two more before the end of the day to really get to know our community here. But I think at the core of what we do in residential life is when we look at evenings and we look at weekends, our goals are that our students are healthy and happy, right? So we provide structures to make that happen. We encourage and we foster relationships between students and between students and faculty. And sometimes there's faculty or students and faculty kids, or the faculty pets, right? Some of those are the richest relationships on our campus. So just a basic overview of what residential life looks like after school. Students participate in after school activities, right? Often those are athletics or their arts sorts of activities. And then they go to dinner, and then they settle into the dorm for the evening. And on a school night, on a weekday night, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, there is a sort of more formalized study hall period in the dormitories. On Sundays, it's quiet hours. It's a little less formal. Students might be, if they're ahead on their work, might be cleaning up their rooms or doing their laundry, things like that. But we create a space in the dormitories, and then outside the dormitories for students who want a little bit more structure, for students to study each evening, because they are here as students and to learn and to grow in those ways as well. So we provide that kind of structure. We have student leaders who are active throughout all those procedures. They help with things like check-ins and looking after their peers and seeing that everything's going well in everyone's lives. And And then we get into the weekends, and the weekends are like centers of fun and activity, and I think something that a lot of the students look forward to because they work really hard during the week, right? We have high academic expectations, which we provide high levels of support in helping students to achieve. And then when the weekends come around, they still have some work, but they also need to find some other outlets sometimes. And often that is supporting each other in their athletic competitions. So you might have an athletic competition on Saturday, or you might be, packing the ice rink, lining the fields, packing the gym to support one of the Hebron Lumberjack teams. And it's really amazing. I think I've seen some of the most spirit here of the places that I've worked for fan buses to go to away games as well. So we offer trips on the weekends, and there are a lot of students here, and this is something really special, I think, about Hebron, who don't want to go to the mall on Saturday. They want to go and be there for their teammates, for their classmates who are on teams, and support them in their athletic competitions at away games. And that's really awesome, bringing the Lumberjack spirit, getting out there and supporting our community. And I think that really speaks to the connections that are built here. We also try to do other sorts of things, popular trips that recur, like that happen quite frequently on the weekends, or things like movie trips, getting out to the movie theater. With COVID, we've been renting out like a full theater and having popcorn and soda delivered to students. This fall, we got out to see The Eternals and the new James Bond movie. We also we offer frequent trips that allow students to provide for their essentials, right? Shopping trips, trips to places like Freeport. It's important that students have access to. We do have a wonderful campus out in the country, and it's a bucolic setting. It's lovely. It's beautiful. But it's also important that students have access to supplies, getting snacks, getting things for their latest project and things like that. So we provide opportunities for students to get into town for those kinds of things.
One question I have that is very popular, maybe Caroline, you can also help me answer this, is a lot of people, rightly so, have questions about the food. How is the food? At Hebron, you have a lot of options. There's a lot of variety, and I think that is the best way to describe it, right? I think even if you're a picky eater, you will have the opportunity to have, there's a soup bar, there's a salad bar, there's a dessert
panini
bar.
press.
Dessert is dangerous here. It's dangerous. You gotta stay away from it. But yeah, you have a lot of options. So even in a situation where maybe the main entry is something that you are not a fan of, you will find that there is plenty of other options that you can rely on. And I think that is the best way to describe, I think, in my opinion, the food at Hebron. Could you tell me about what opportunities students have to build relationship with adults and who they work with when they need guidance? We're looking for a school where we know our child will be, to build strong connections with adults who will know him well, guide him, and advocate for him. What kind of program do we have in the residential life that will kind of be mentors for every prospective students?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think when we look institution-wide, right, the advisor, and I'm sure you've heard in the academic sessions that the advisor is really a nexus of communication and support for students, someone who they can come to when they have something. But when we move into the residential environment, you get this whole next tier of supports. And so every dormitory has a certain dorm faculty that are associated, and they're the same dorm faculty, sort of, week to week. And so they're further sort of subdivided into smaller areas where they have particular areas that they look after within the dorm. Within a student home here, we have sort of by floor, right? And there are 4 dorm faculty associated with each floor. And so there are 4 adults who are there regularly who students can connect with. And like to give an example of this, and how like those connections can shape around just the individuals involved. We have this really awesome thing going on the 2nd floor of Sturdivant home here, where one of the dorm faculty members, Mr. Barbera, he's really into chess, right? He plays chess. He has played competitively. He's ranked somewhere. He won't tell us his ranking, but he's very good. He's connected with a lot of students around chess. And so when he's on duty, and now even when he's not on duty, right? And when he's there, and even when he's not, there always seems to be a chess game going on in that common room. And you get to see him, when I walk around when folks are on duty and I check in different places, and you'll see him like helping students to get better at chess. But then I'll also see him and one of those same students who's a resident on his hall, walking together between buildings and chatting about life and chatting about like, just like what's going on. And I think that's really like one of those prime examples of how, our faculty here and the students too, I mean, we're all humans, right? We look to build connection, right? And those connections really are built and forged in our residential community. So
yeah, I mean, I think there is also a personal aspect to it. I mean, we all choose to work here at Hebron and be part of this community, and it's in some ways not in the most centric location. So this is our part. This is not just part. This is our lives. We enjoy going into supporting teams and games, and that kind of relationship with students is just part of our daily life. I think that no, it's not that we go home at 5 o'clock. I think that what is key is that it's the same way in terms of accountability. I think that is you develop such a relationship that I think students understand what is expected from them in terms of academic standard and behavior, because there is this almost trust. There is this relationship that can only be described as a family. I think that at the end of the year, we have to call the police to kick everybody out because nobody wants to leave. So
we haven't had to do that.
So I think
that's a metaphor. Just for the sake of clarity.
We have to call them, but I think that is that idea of is, to be perfectly honest, I think afterwards, when the kids go home in the summer, they have a transition. You will start hearing from the kids being like, I want to go back to Hebron, and at Hebron we did things like this, and you're gonna say like, well, this is our home. And there is this transition of Hebron really becomes part of them, part of where they're growing, and a key part of that is our own journey here as adults. So I think that we are very excited. But guys, the time has come. We have to go to the next session. Let's all. As an international student, how was your transition into the Hebron community?
So I think my transition into Hebron Academy was something so natural. Everyone here was so welcoming. As soon as I got here, I started making friends. I think that I didn't feel that I was excluded. I felt like I was welcome. I felt that people wanted to be my friends. They wanted me to make part of their lives, to be with them. And then I think that really helped me in the beginning. And until today, I think I made friends that are going to be lifelong friends. And that's what I love about Hebron Academy. All the connections that you make, all the people that you can meet, all of the friends that you can have for the rest of your lives. I think that's something special.
Nice. And Daniel, I think maybe you can see that somebody's asking what has been the best part of being at Hebron for all of you. So
for me has been mostly academics and arts. I love the relationship I have with my teachers. I can always ask for help about classes, or even like I can turn to them if I have a personal problem. And maybe also the arts department. I love being able to paint all the time, music, art, ceramics. So I think that has been one of the best parts of being at Hebron for me.
What about for you, Clover?
Like Daniela said, I really love the faculty. I can always talk to them about anything, and they just make me feel so welcome.
Julia, no, I think you're about to graduate. You have had quite a career here at Hebron. You know, you're great. You're gonna be an engineer. You have been part of the dorm, the athletics. What is the best piece of advice you will give a future Hebron student?
My best piece of advice would be to try everything that you're given an opportunity to. You do crazy weekend activities, like we have dog sledding. And so even if you're not comfortable with something, I think Hebron's really good at pushing you outside your comfort zone. And you never know, because that one thing that you may try might be something that you become really passionate about and pursue in the future. So my best advice would be to try everything.
What about you, Daniela? You are in a similar situation than Julia. You know, you're about to graduate, you're a proctor. I'm sure it's going to be hard to leave Hebron for you. So what is the best advice that you will give a future new student?
Maybe just be open to new experiences, new people, new challenges. Just be open to get over challenges and stuff, because sometimes you get homesick, or you want to, you want to do like something easier, but it's fun to get out of your comfort zone. For me, it was dog sledding, and like Julia said, that was very nerve-wracking, but it was a lot of fun.
I cannot think of a better person. Dillamar, somebody sent me here a message direct about the winter at Hebron. And I know that you're just starting to experience it, but how has been your experience so far? And then we will ask maybe Julia to give us her impression, but I'm curious, coming from Brazil, it's pretty tropical there. So how has been your experience with the Maine winter?
Awesome. So my experience has been great. I think to me, especially because I love the cold, and that was something that I just didn't have in Brazil. I was really used to hot weather. I was used to going surfing, using not a lot of clothes. When I got here, I started using jackets, coats, a lot of layers, and I love it. I think the winter has a lot of great experience. You can do snowboarding, you can ski, you can play with the snow outside the dorms. And inside, you don't feel cold, because I think Hebron has an awesome infrastructure. All of the buildings are like heated. They have everything to don't make you feel cold. So I believe that I'm loving the cold, and I want it to continue for a while.
Do you feel prepared? Do you feel like, do you feel that you are ready to move on into, first of all, how your experience as a middle schooler has been, and then whether or not you feel prepared to move into high school?
The middle school has done like a really good job with like preparing you for upper school and the challenges that come. I'm personally excited for upper school because there's more opportunities, and I'm just excited to try new things.
Cool. What else? Any other question? I see a question here. What has been something you have done at Hebron that you thought you will never do? What about you, Daniela?
For me, it was ceramics. I've always been involved with art, but never ceramics, and I've been trying it this year, and it's been a lot of fun. And also dog sledding. Never in my life thought I was going to be in a sled with dogs, but it was so cool last year.
I have a question for Daniela or Dilamar. For students who have never been away from home and are, this will be their first residential experience, do you have any advice for them on, better ways to acclimate to the community?
Maybe I could start with Dilamar. For me, it was finding a group of friends that reminds you of home, and don't feel bad if you feel homesick. We all do. We all sometimes cry and be like, I want to be home, but it's part of the experience, and making little activities that remind you of home, like cooking or talking to some friends. I feel like not feeling homesick, it's when you're not feeling homesick, it's when you're around a lot of friends. So here we have a lot of that. And yeah, when I'm around friends, I don't feel homesick. And it was a lot last year feeling homesick, but the support of my friends helped me. And now I'm so used to not being back home. It's easy now.
Yeah,
I won't tell your mother that.
Please don't.
So I agree with Daniela. I think being your friend, the major. I think things to don't feel homesick. Whenever I feel homesick, I just go to one of my friends. We talk for a while, and then I feel brand new. Also, I like doing sports. I like going to the gym. That reminds me of home. I like playing soccer, so that also reminds you of home. And then I believe that always doing something that reminds you of your home also gonna make you feel like you're there. And I believe that also I didn't feel a lot of homesick when I was here. And I believe that everyone here is just so welcoming that there's no reason for feeling that homesick. Everyone here is just gonna hug you, and that's gonna help you. And
well, guys, I really appreciate, particularly those who stay throughout the day. We really appreciate you taking the time of this Saturday morning to get to know a little bit about Hebron, our students, different areas. And like I said, we're gonna actually put a video of the whole day so that everybody that couldn't attend or could attend one session, couldn't attend another session, could see the whole open house. But to our panelists, thank you so much. You guys are the best. I know that you have a busy schedule today as well, so enjoy the day, Julia, Daniela, Dilamar, and Clover, and thank you guys for being part of our open house. Thank you.